This is the story of hope, faith, and what can happen when people help other people. It's the story of Dr. Raj Desai, his daughter Anjali, who was born deaf, and his passion to help millions of hearing-impaired people live up to all they can be.
Now with your hearing aid, you can hear better.
This is also a story of how a global civic organization, Rotary, practices the motto that it preaches, service above self. Together, Rotary and Dr. Desai formed a model program, one that helps deaf people in Dr. Desai's native land of India, a country with one of the highest rates of deafness in the world. Dr. Desai's story begins in 1964 in Boston. He and his wife have their fourth child, but that year America suffers through an epidemic of rubella. With no vaccine back then, 60,000 babies were born deaf, including Dr. Desai's girl, Anjali.
It was a catastrophe for my family. We did not know what to do. We went through a lot of soul searching and finally collected as much information as we could.
Dr. Desai enrolls Anjali in one of the top schools for the deaf at the time, but that school strictly emphasized lip reading and speaking, not sign language and finger spelling. So the doctor joins other parents and starts a new school in California. They invite 2 teachers from Gallaudet University in Washington, D.C., the only one in the nation serving the deaf. And the Orange County School District also lends its support. Back then, their holistic approach to teaching was controversial, but now it is considered mainstream. Today, Anjali Desai Margolin has a master's degree. She counsels students on their careers at Gallaudet University and is described by her students as an inspiration in their lives.
Angela has helped me in many ways.
Anjali's success is due to her early detection of deafness and education. I am happy to say that 50% of the United States requires mandatory testing for newborn deafness.
Is it a baby? Octopus.
Anjali and her husband, also deaf, have 2 children who can hear perfectly well but have been taught to speak English and use sign language. Many years later in India, Dr. Desai would come across the next big challenge in his life. He is contacted by an old friend from the Rotary Club, Ramesh Pai. Ramesh sends the doctor a stunning newspaper article about villages of the deaf in India. In the news story, the reporter is following politicians on the campaign trail. She notices the politicians' words seem to be literally falling on deaf ears. And in fact, the reporter learns that 1 in 3 villagers are unable to hear. It turns out this is just one of countless other villages in India. In fact, India has one of the world's highest rates of deafness, and most of the deaf are illiterate, uneducated, and discriminated against.
I asked myself, could I give these deaf children in India the same opportunities of education and employment as I gave to my daughter? Why can't I bring more Anjalis into this world?
To do so, Dr. Desai needed a lot of help, so he asks his fellow Rotarians to sponsor his campaign. The Rotarians would rise to the occasion, from his home club in Newport Beach, California, and 6 other clubs nearby, to Rotary clubs in India, from Mysore and Hubli Midtown, as well as Rotary International. Together, they launch what the doctor names Project Deaf India. The project conducts research and finds 4 main causes of deafness, all stemming from too little education and too much poverty. First, polluted water from one old well, pumped by hand and used again and again by 500 villagers for drinking, washing, and bathing. Second, chronic ear infections among babies after coconut oil is put into their ears by parents as a religious ritual. Third, no access to vaccines for rubella. And finally, consanguinity, or intermarriage within blood relatives. This is especially prevalent in South India. This causes 40% of all deaf cases, plus other diseases. In response, Project Deaf India has built 3 subterranean wells that supply villagers with pure water for 24 hours a day. Project Deaf India has set up monthly health clinics to diagnose ear infections and other health problems. The clinic supplies multivitamins and teaches about the dangers of using coconut oil and marrying relatives. Project Deaf India is also trying to provide rubella vaccines to teenage girls so their babies can avoid deafness, blindness, and heart disease. Dr. Desai is challenging the Indian government and pharmaceutical companies to supply rubella vaccines.
This vaccination in all over India is extremely important to decrease the incidence of deafness by mostly 50 to 70%. तो अभी स्कूल में जाता है इधर नवी स्कूल है.
To help the deaf children hear better, the project gives out free hearing aids and batteries. Watch as Dr. Desai helps one young boy whose hearing is now significantly improved.
कितने साल हो गया? 5 साल हो गए. नहीं. ठीक है, छोटे हैं.
मैं बड़ा.
हम सबसे बड़ा. छोटे से छोटा कितना उम्र का?
3 दिन छोटे.
3 साल का. तुम्हारी उम्र कितना? तुम्हारा उम्र कितना? 50 साल हो गया था आपको? He was gleaming with joy because he could hear the birds singing and the music around him. It made me very happy.
Project Deaf India has also built an elementary school. Listen to one little girl whose hearing has improved thanks to her new hearing aid that she can now pronounce her ABCs more clearly. Back home in the U.S., students at Gallaudet University are being counseled on their careers by Anjali Desai. And Anjali's 2 children have been taught by their parents to be bilingual. They and thousands of other children at Gallaudet are learning through its total communication program.
I am very grateful that so many people have joined me for this cause. Being deaf or hearing impaired should not stop them from getting their fullest potential. They need not be a burden to the society. Indeed, they could contribute greatly to the society. They just need a chance.
And in India, these children now have a chance that was born simply by people helping other people.